Welcome to the final round of the Penrite ProMX Championship presented by AMX Superstores, and we are in Coolum, Queensland for this iconic track's last hurrah. 4 championships up for grabs, and this is what they're vying for. Hi, I'm Kate Peck, and with me is the expert commentary team of Danny Ham and Lee Hogan. Boys, we are wrapping up the Oz Pro MX for 2023, and what a place to do it.
Well, the atmosphere doesn't get any better than right here at Coolum. A little bit of nostalgia, but also a little sad because we're saying goodbye after this round. It's just such a great place.
Hammy, just the energy here is so electric.
Yeah, the atmosphere, fantastic. You see so many fans here. You get the air horns blowing. There's even someone out here, I think, with a chainsaw, without the blades on it, of course, making as much noise as they can. So electric.
Oh, so good. All right, to MX2, where we have witnessed a fierce rivalry go down this year between Terra Firma Honda's Wilson Todd and KTM's hard-charging Nathan Crawford, but Nathan couldn't do it. Wilson Todd took out the championship glory in Moto1 earlier today.
He did, and truly deserving. He has been a rider that's been so consistent and strong. Even when he did have his down days, he was still consistent enough to make enough points to keep himself up the top of the championship. All he had to do out there today was go out and get a great result. He in fact went out and won the first moto and did it in fine form.
Going to mention to the MXW easy lift class, Charlie Cannon taking out that championship. Oh, just such a great job, well done. She has been battling up the front all year long. She heads over to MXGP, so really excited to see how she goes. She's got such a bright future ahead. Hogs, on to the big kids, MX1, where Dean Ferris on the Yamaha is leading the charge, but Jed Beaton, he is looking quick out there. And pole position, I mean, anything can happen in motocross.
Absolutely. Now, we've still got 2 motos to go in that Premier MX1 class. Does Dean Ferris have what it takes to wrap up that championship? He hasn't quite been looking in the kind of form that we've seen him throughout the rest of the season. However, I tell you what, Jed Beaton is firing on all cylinders here at Coolum, that's for sure. Every practice, every qualifying, and of course, the pole shootout. Does he have what it takes to wrestle this championship off Dean Ferris? Oh, we're gonna have to wait to find out. It's so exciting.
Well, Hogs, you got to catch up with the top 3 MX1 guns, so let's hear what they had to say.
Well, the MX1 field for season 2023 is one of the most stacked fields that I can remember in recent history. Let's have a bit of a chat with some of the contenders.
12 months ago, I was going to wrap it up. I was really burnt out. I just put in a massive 12 months, you know, going for that championship. You know, I still put everything in that I had, but as you could tell, there wasn't much left in the gas tank. And then after that, mate, went and had 5 months off, fully disconnected from motocross, and it was exactly what I needed, because the first time in my life that I just like kind of let it go and didn't think about bikes, and I just come back super recharged. It's been an awesome year. We're coming in here for championship leads, so yeah, of course I'm out, you know, jumping out of my skin to have the opportunity to go for my 4th title.
Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good. I did struggle a little bit, like say, with the track at QMP. First time I got arm pump in a long time, and just, yeah, sort of struggled to get in a flow, and yeah, it is what it is. I'm just looking forward to this weekend. I mean, I pretty much have nothing to lose and he has everything to lose. So, yeah, I'm just looking at it like that. Just go out there and do the best I can. Just go out and try and win some races.
I have flown under the radar, and it's I've been there or thereabouts, which is it's good, but it's, you know, not exactly what I wanted. But you know, with the new bike, we've been just, you know, stepping stones, you know, slightly here and there, getting better and better. So, you know, really happy to be, you know, in the top 3. There's some mad dudes in our class, and yeah, just happy to be within the fight.
Right now it's an individual race. I don't know if I have it in me to just sandbag it for the weekend. So gate drops, I'm going to be going as fast as I can.
I want to get off to just some good starts and just ride some decent laps, and yeah, like I said before, try and win some races, and yeah, let the rest unfold from there.
I would love to be there for the fight, you know. I do get to practice here a little bit throughout the week, so I feel quite comfortable on the track, but I just want to put my best foot forward, put 2 solid races together, and hopefully that's enough to come away with that 3rd place. If not, we will hopefully can come back next year and have another crack.
I mean, 15 points, like you look at the other rounds we've had this year, you can gain and lose 15 points in a race or a race weekend. So I'm just looking at it like that, and I don't know, just aiming for some wins. So when I go out, I can maximise my points and then sort of let the rest unfold from there and see what we come out with.
You know, if I can wrap up this one, it's going to be on top of the list, I'm pretty sure. Just with everything I've gone through in the last 5 years since that last one and the way I've done it. And look, I don't even need to tell you how much I want it. I show every moto how much I want it, and you know, I make sure when I go out there, I give it my all.
Well, Dean Ferris certainly is in the box seat with 15 points over Jed Beaton coming into this final round. Does he have what it takes to clinch that championship? We'll have to wait and see.
So good. All right, Hogs, well, let's take a look at the track you did on the Honda.
Welcome to this week's Michelin track preview. And of course, we are at the iconic Coolum Pine Circuit in the sunny coast. So much history here and a lot of personal history for me as well. Can't wait to take my very last lap around this place. Now, being a sand track, I've got the Starcross 6 Michelin paddle tyre on the back. Keep me up on the sand. Let's see how she goes. All right, drop of the gate and a little bit sideways here coming out. Kids don't do that, but we head down into the first turn. And as we can see already, this Coolum track starting to chop up. So many lines. Do you go left? Do you go right? I was trying to find some far extremities here to keep away from the big bumps. Into turn 2, which is a right-hand U-turn, electing to go far outside, and have a look at the ruts up the takeoff ramp here. It's actually a step down, but almost impossible. We're basically seeing nobody get all the way up and over down the landing ramp on the other side. Through this mid part of the circuit is where we see the rollers start to come in. But this track at Coolum, it's a bit of a mixture of everything. We've got rollers, we've got sharp edge bumps there in the middle, which makes it so hard to set up the suspension. And then of course these ruts, where if you get out of the line that you're supposed to be in, it spells disaster. Through the middle, and once again, some rutted jumps here. And at the moment, I've got that much arm pump that I'm just trying to survive out here and not crash. So we're up on the pegs around the outside, and things are feeling not too bad through here as we get to a split lane section. I opted to go for the far left here because a little bit further down the track, there's a nice line around the outside. Some iconic sand rollers here as we get to the last third of the track, and have a look at that view off in the distance. Now, quite possibly one of the sandiest corners here on the track, the Michelin right-hander, and it doesn't stop there as we head straight into another split lane. And the far left, I opt to go up and over the jump, trying to pick which line, which rut up this takeoff ramp is going to be the best option. Going for the inside rut here, and I know I'm getting very close towards the end of the lap here with just a couple of corners to go. Another corner where we get up on the pegs. No time to sit down here. If you sit down, you're getting kicked all over the place. And this final chicane before coming onto the high-speed start straight, there were not many good lines to choose from, I tell you. So I just kind of point and chose where to go as we turned right and onto that final tabletop and down the main straight. And of course the crowd, the vibe here at Coolum, just spectacular.
A great view of this track, and the only thing I'm disappointed is that we didn't see Lee Hogan end up on the ground like I did when I did my track preview, but really does show just how rough and treacherous it is. And that was yesterday. That was before we got to this part of the day where there's already been so many races. The track will actually look like they flattened out that upper ramp just there, but the rest of the track is still so beat up. Here's the champ points down to the right, and there is not a lot in it between the top two. This race, Lee, is pivotal. This here will decide how the rest of today pans out.
Yeah, this is absolute excitement time for these guys. Who has a Jed Beaton or Dean Ferris? We're about to find out. Let's take a look at the Thor lineup. MX1, Jed Beaton, Levi Rogers, Kyle Webster, Dean Ferris.
Gibbs, Tanti, Metcalf, Harwood, Lelinski, and Evans. And I do want to just say Rogers, Levi Rogers set the second fastest time in the shootout. Amazing stuff. Good to see him up there. Walker, Darroch, Rikers, a whole bunch of names The biggest field we've seen in MX1 in many, many years. So pumped to see them all on the start gate.
Absolutely. Now, to our viewers at home, I must say, one of the most stressful moments for me doing that lap, that Michelin lap, is the fact that I knew that Danny Ham had his iPhone well and truly on me, just praying for a crash, a tuck of the front end at any moment. So glad to keep her on two wheels. But here we go. 15-second board for race one of our Thor MX1. 25 minutes plus a lap. We are in the starter's hands. Let's watch for the drop at the gate, and they are off.
Wow, Gibbs with a fantastic start by the look of it to the inside. There's a Honda, there's two Hondas up the front. Where is Ferris? There he is to the outside.
Okay, so prime position here for the two Honda boys. Jed Beaton up the inside and Kyle Webster. We know how fast Webster is in the sand.
Well, actually, I thought Beaton was up there, but according to our timing, he's back just a little bit. Is that him there in second, or is that Webster? Looks through the outside, wasting no time. So there is Webster and Beaton. Gibbs, Tanti is there as well. There is Ferris back there in 6th place at the moment. 5th at the moment.
So everyone has positioned themselves where they need to be. Our 100% whole shot goes to Kirk Gibbs. But just as we say that, trying to go up the inside and makes the pass, Kyle Webster.
How was that pressure from Webster? He wanted to get out straight away and run away with this lead. We've seen the speed out of this guy in practice, in qualifying, as to with Beaton. And we know that these Honda boys love the sand, as we see a beautiful aerial shot just here. Tanti there in 4th place. Looks to the outside of Beaton. Nice little move over by Beaton. Takes the line away. And Tanti still working. Oh, the back wheels almost coming together.
Very close between Tanti and Jed Beaton now. Beaton needs to try to get past Kirk Gibbs, but like Kirk said earlier on, he's flown under the radar, but he really does need to make his mark here at the final round. What a great job for him to be up inside of the top 3 here.
I tell you what, though, Ferris is looking menacing at the moment. He's already looking to the inside here of Aaron Tanti. Can he switch it up? He wants to make these passes early. He has got his eyes fixed on where that number 14 is. Only 2 positions in front of him, as we see that lead stretch out to 3 seconds already for our race leader in Webster. Very important first couple of laps right here as Tanti dives to the outside. So too does Beaton. But it's Beaton that's going to hold this one for the moment. So close between them, Lee, at the moment.
Absolutely, hanging off the inside there. That was a close moment for Jed Beaton as he tries to hold on to that position against a hard-charging Aaron Tanti, who has nothing to lose. Just a little ways back there to Dean Ferris, just trying to stay in tow. But it's all about Kyle Webster, who in the period of a lap and a half has already got himself 3.5 seconds over Gibbs.
So keep an eye on Ferris over these next couple of laps. I feel he's going to start pushing forward pretty hard as we see Tanti gets himself up into 3rd place around Gibbs.
And now that Ferris drops the pressure onto Gibbs as well. So have a look. Tanti straight away has latched onto the back of Jed Beaton. Is he making his way up towards the head of the pack? Ferris trying to launch an attack on Gibbs.
Gibbs took a sneaky look over the shoulder just then, closed down that line and manages to hold that position. I'll tell you what, I'm impressed with Tanti at the moment. He is not letting Beaton get away from him at all as they go through. We saw Tanti have a small crash in the time qualifying or in the shootouts, and up the inside already, and Ferris has made the pass as well.
Now, let's have a look as Tanti made the pass there. It was a beautiful line up the inside. I believe he may have. Yes, he's got a good run, but... Oh, Jed Beaton up the inside. Forceful with that move.
And we see Tanti has dropped off the back of Ferris. Now, over that last lap, Lee, it just looks like he isn't quite as fluid as we saw in the opening laps. Really fighting that bike at the moment. Now, could that be a little bit of arm pump possibly from the intensity of early on in this race?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of a couple of things, Danny. One, if you lose your momentum and your flow on a track like this, you can pump up a little bit, you can get gassed, you get spat out the back really quick. Also, if you have a look at the side and the back of him, he has all kind of colors going on in his gear. You look at the front, he is one color of brown, right? So he's been sitting right behind multiple riders as he goes sideways. Sorry, Danny, you were looking at the leaderboard when that happened. A 90-degree moment there for Aaron Tanti. You've got to wonder when you're sitting right behind someone and copping the amount of roost that he has, how much effect that has on you as well.
So fitness is going to play a massive part in this. If you're feeling fatigued already at half race distance, the last part of this one, and you can see it the way he went through the rollers just there, just falling into the deepest part of those rollers. That's when you start to see that there's some fatigue set in, or possibly arm pump. Again, speculation. We're not sitting there on the bike, but it certainly isn't the strong Tanti that we saw on those opening laps. As we look a little bit further back, there is Gibbs back there, I think in 5th place still, Lee.
Yeah, great job for Kurt Gibbs back there. I'm just having a little bit of a look here on the leaderboard, 7.7 seconds back from Webster to Beaton now. So he's closed in a couple of seconds there. And of course, still nice and close between Beaton and Ferris. That's the battle. These two riders need to make sure they keep it on two wheels and have no mishaps.
You can just see how much that KTM bouncing around through those corners. Keeping an eye on the background, and I think is that Harwood just in the background on the left of screen, possibly making his way past a couple of lapped riders as well. So he is still well within reach of getting up here to Gibbs. As I can hear outside the commentator going nuts. Have a look at the left, only 0.7 seconds difference between Beaton and Ferris. He's got to be close somewhere out on track. As we see Gibbs still working his way through this very deep section of the track, through the splits. And oh, who's that? No, it's a lapped rider just down on the left there, the 52 machine. As we go back to our race leader, 96, Webster. 8.7 seconds now. They've closed down, and the leaderboard on the left says that Ferris now sits in 2nd place. So a change of position.
Yeah, as we look back now and on camera, if we scan our eyes down, we can see Jed Beaton, who just starting to look not quite as comfortable. He was up and on top of the bumps, and just all weekend we've seen him dancing around. I don't know if he's, you know, just feeling a little bit fatigued. We're at that part of the race now. There's still 8.5 minutes to go, but these riders, they haven't had a chance to settle in, to get into some kind of a groove. It's just been charge.
Well, I would say that now at the moment, this guy on screen looks a little bit more comfortable now that the pace has dropped down a fraction from what we saw. It was 48s earlier on. We're back into the 50s now, the 1-minute 50s for both 1st and 2nd place as they come across the line. Actually a 53 by our leader that last time around, Webster, compared to a 151 for Dean Ferris. So there's a couple of seconds in that. Don't count this out just yet. If it continues like this, there's still a lot of time on that clock. Ferris, potentially, he could get up there and maybe challenge for this win. The leaderboard as it sits, Webster, Ferris, Beaton, Tanti, Gibbs. Harwood is still there in 6th place. And then it's Walker, Rogers, Evans, Zielinski, Metcalf, Wood, Watson, Rikers, and Darroch back there in 15th place.
Let me ask your opinion, Danny. So for Dean Ferris at the moment has a 9-second gap now over Jed Beaton. We have 3 minutes 50 seconds on the clock plus a lap. At what point do we see Dean Ferris start to, both legs off there, which is not difficult to do around this track, let me tell you. At what point do we see Dean Ferris just go, okay, I'm going to back it down just 2 or 3% just to try to get this thing through to the checkered flag? There's no challenge for Webster overall for the race win here, but we need 2nd place just to make life a little easier going into the final moto.
You would think around this time, 3 minutes to go, they surely know where they're at and what points they're going to gain. So I think right now is a good time for them. As we see Walker on screen, it was Rogers that we saw the no-foot effort just moments ago going through that big long left. But that is 440 of Jai Walker with a fantastic ride here. He sits there in 7th place, just in the middle in the white riding gear, getting a little loose off the backside of that jump. And then just behind them on the blue Yamaha, it was Rogers on the 23 machine, the 174, just one of our lapped riders just there. But fantastic effort by Walker to be up there I think that's Rogers just there to the left, coming into shot now. It's a big rider.
And what a fantastic job he did in all of the qualifying sessions and Superpole, and right up there all the time. Good to see him well inside the top 10 here. A little bit of mistake with that front end. Might be feeling the pinch a little bit out there at the moment with just 2.5 minutes to go.
That's fatigue coming into it at its greatest. That's me all over. I would be dead by this point, just in complete survival mode for these guys to be out there, top 10, running around this pace. It is it's quite a superhuman effort for them to get through and get to the line.
Well, an 8.4 second gap from Kyle Webster back to Dean Ferris when the number 96 Honda rider makes his way in just a few moments' time down that main straight one more time. He will receive the last lap board. So just one lap to go for Kyle Webster to take victory here in the first of 2 motos in the Thor MX1 here at Coolum. But it's all about this guy, number 111, who has gone into some serious damage management mode here and come from not the best of starts and gone past all of his main competitors except for one, Kyle Webster.
Still our lead rider getting a little bit of encouragement from the lap rider just there. Give a bit of a cheer on the way through as he is now on his last lap. There was Ferris just on top of screen, all the way at the back there as we go through the easy lift left-hander. 96 machine, Kyle Webster. We expected this out of Webster. He has proven himself to be, as we said, a fantastic hard-pack rider, but his grassroots are in the sand, and this is where he feels so comfortable, and it shows right now the different riding style that he's got, how loose, whilst in control he is, letting that bike move around underneath him, and not letting it concern him too much at all.
His time will come in this MX1 class, that's for sure. We saw moments of brilliance throughout the year, but of course, let's not forget that rock that he copped to the arm at Maitland and had to get surgery. It was such a gruesome injury. We saw pictures of that, and with that next door to no time, he was back on the bike once again. So he's had race wins, he's had so many podiums, but just a couple of unfortunate races and that nasty little injury that put paid to any chance of battling this championship right the way down to the wire. But without a doubt, he is the man of the moment at the moment when it comes to Coolum here in the Thor MX1 Moto1.
Into the very last turn from Moto number 1 is our leader, the Boost Mobile Honda rider of 96. Kyle Webster will take the victory in this race. And we wait for the next rider to come across the line. There he is. Dean Ferris has extended that championship lead by another couple of points, giving himself a slightly bigger buffer going into Moto number 2.
And even though he is having such a fantastic form weekend, Jed Beaton on the Honda, he has to somehow go back to the big rig and try to get himself into the right headspace to line up for Moto2 and turn the tables on Dean Ferris. Does he have it in him?
Well, only time will tell with that one as we see the 96 machine move his way into the presentation area. And we will get the moment to talk to him very soon as we take a look at the Thor MX1 Moto number 1 results. Kyle Webster, Dean Ferris, Jed Beaton. Tanti managed to hold on to 4th. Kirk Gibbs back there in 5th.
Hamish Harwood in 6th. Great ride from Levi Rogers, Jai Walker, Joel Evans, and Luke Zielinski rounding out the top 10.
Metcalf would finish there in 11th in front of Dylan Wood, Zachary Watson, Jaden Rikers, and Derek back there in 15th.
Good to see Lockie Latimer there, out there on the track in 16th. Bailey Malkowitz, a welcome return this weekend from injury.
Jackson alone and the rest of the field coming across to complete their first race. Let's head down to Kate, who is with our winner.
Kyle Webster on the Boost Mobile Honda. Congratulations on that win. We're expecting big things from you in the sand, and you did deliver. Good start. You're on fire out there.
Yeah, thank you. It's tough out there. The track's rough and sorry, it's hot, but that was a good race. I was happy with that. I knew I had to put in some good laps at the start and try and build a bit of a buffer if I could. And yeah, it's what I managed to do, and then just sort of maintain it from there. So No, it was a really good race, good start, so hopefully we can do that again in the next one.
Exactly. Well, it's been a bit of a tough year for you, so it's really nice to see you on the podium.
Yeah, definitely. It's always nice to be up here.
Excellent. All right, good luck.
Thank you.
The final time here at Coolum Pines, and we are getting set for the big one, the MX1. Who will it be? Will it be this man on screen, Jed Beaton, to take the win, or will it be Dean Ferris that will come away with the championship, his 4th championship here in Australia? Lee Hogan, what a lineup we've got as we take a quick look here at Moto2 lineup. Jed Beaton, Levi Rogers with a fantastic result in the first one. Kyle Webster, Dean Ferris, Kirk Gibbs, Tanti, Metcalf, Harwood, Zielinski, Evans,
Jai Walker, John Darridge, Jaden Rikers, Callum Norton, Bailey Malkowitz, and there we see Zachary Watson.
Now, we've seen a few privateers really stepping up into the top 10. I'm sure we're going to see it again, but of course, the main story, the big story, Ferris or Beaton. Who do you see? How do you see it happening?
Well, the main thing is that Jed Beaton has kept himself in the picture, right? So he still mathematically has a chance to take this championship off Dean Ferris. However, that first moto put Ferris in prime position. He needs to get a good start. He needs to safely make his way through the first turn. That is the big tick of the box. If he can do that, I think he'll be crowned champion.
And that's one thing for Ferris. He is a very smart rider. He has been around, experienced a lot of this. He's won the championships. He knows how it's done. So expect to see all of that wisdom, all of that knowledge and intelligence on the bike to come into play here as our riders get set for the final time of the 2023 championship season. MX1 Moto number 2, the gates drop. Who's going to come away with a final whole shot of
Jed Beaton with an awesome start on the Boost Mobile Honda, and Kyle Webster up the inside, so it's another Honda 1-2. But I think Webster, no, he has gone around the outside, and Beaton on the inside. Who is in this here?
I saw Ferris was clear of all this. In fact, Ferris might have just moved himself into 3rd place. He has. He's wasted no time at all and has jumped straight into 3rd place. Beaton with the lead. Webster there in 3rd. Now, do we see Beaton stay at the front, Webster hold his position there in 2nd, or do we see Webster absolutely go for it with the speed we saw in Moto number 1?
How is that inside line from Kyle Webster trying to round up his teammate early in this stage here of the first moto? The 100% whole shot going to Kyle Webster.
And the boys just working out exactly how rough this track has gotten since the last time they were out. See the bounce there by Webster. It was almost like he was hitting a Supercross double. That's just how big these rollers have become. Tanti to the outside of Ferris as well. Wants to play the game. Can he make this pass right now, or will he follow Ferris for a couple of laps?
Let's not forget about the early race pace that Tanti had in Moto 1 today. It took a few laps for Ferris to get into his zone, and he doesn't want to give up that position to Tanti.
Early days in this 25-minute moto as you see Tanti to the outside, bouncing around, trying to keep nice and light up on top of that sand as we see Webster continues to menace across the back wheel there of his teammate in Jed Beaton. There is Tanti, the number 1 machine, clears the goggles, tries to get some free vision, make sure that he knows exactly what lines he needs to get to try and make this pass.
Nice slingshot onto the main straight once again, and a beautiful line up the inside for Dean Ferris. He's trying everything he can to keep toe with Kyle Webster, but currently it's Jed Beaton that continues to lead.
If you remember in Moto number 1, it took Ferris quite a few laps to start finding his feet and look comfortable on the bike before he was able to charge forward. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, it looks like a different Ferris this time. He looks much more comfortable than he did in the opening laps of Moto number 1.
He does, and that inside line, that favourite inside for Kyle Webster is all it took, and he made a clear pass. Have a look at that.
Stretching it out straight away is Kyle Webster on the 96 machine, an absolute sand specialist, and it is clear today that he is in a league of his own as we see Ferris to the inside or the left side of the AMX split section. Drops down here to the very back portion of the track. Again, this was an area that we saw Tanti close right in on Ferris last time around. Two lines coming together there. Ferris still maintaining that small gap.
Yeah, very similar lines for Tanti, sticking to what he knows, and likewise for Dean Ferris up the inside.
Let's have a look at a replay here. This is the first corner crash, so a couple of the riders that are down right there. We didn't catch the actual crash, but I think what I saw from the front view was a couple of the riders, just bars coming together, maybe a spin out. So unfortunate for them, they've got a long day or long moto to finish out their day. Oh, no, can you believe it?
Beaton has been caught up with one of the Penrite banners, and he has had to stop and take it out of the back of the Honda machine.
And his radiator.
So has he gone down in the process?
Yeah, so that radiator shroud, the right radiator shroud is loose. Not sure exactly what has happened there. Just to go through the banners, that wouldn't be what would cause the radiator shroud to get dislodged like that. So maybe something a bit bigger than we saw on track.
Yeah, you can see that right side radiator shroud just absolutely flapping in the breeze at the moment. Let's see if we've caught it here. So it's following through a little bit sideways there. And just the tail end we spotted, he has gone off and down.
Down, yep.
Okay, so that is, I mean, when you go down in a situation like that, your radiator shroud acts like a shovel and just fills up your radiator with sand.
And it's lucky that it didn't bend that radiator back and actually cause more of an issue. Especially with those scoops of the sand, it can really rip it back and break the radiators quite easy. And if that had happened, then he wouldn't finish this race. Metcalf just in front, very loose that last time through that corner, almost coming down. So Metcalf, a better ride this time around. He was outside the top 10 in Moto number 1, 6th at the moment. He sits behind Harwood just in front of them. But a big charge here for Jed Beaton at the moment, needs to clear a couple more. He is still safe, though, in the championship for second place at the moment. No one really too close to him.
Yeah, so an unforced error there, just a little bit of pressure and just off the side of the track, unfortunately, for Jed Beaton. And now what that has done effectively is put Dean Ferris into a position where this will become the longest 20 minutes of his life. He just has to circulate around and not be involved in too much of a battle. He's not really thinking about just racing this race. He knows that his main competitor is quite a ways back, and he will get information that he'll receive via the pit board that will let him know this, so it's just lock into some form of autopilot mode. Hit your lines, hit your markers, don't make any mistakes. Let's just wheel this thing on home, and you will have your 4th championship in the Premier class.
Realistically for him now, it's just another day at the practice track for Dean Ferris. As you said, just go around and ride your own race. You know what? I wouldn't even think that if Tanti was able to close that gap, there would be much of a fight or a challenge from Ferris. Of course, he'd like to win, but overall, just he needs to close this one out. And now, especially with Beaton so far back, it should be just a Sunday ride for him. It's funny watching just how much these guys stand up around this track, and anyone that has never experienced it, anyone that does do motocross riding, you may do it, I do it at the schools that I do, Lee, where we'll get our riders to go out and just stand up on a smooth track for a couple of laps just so that they get the feeling of it. They stand up everywhere through the corners. They come back in complaining, oh, my back's hurting on a smooth track after a couple of laps. And we say this is the very reason when you get to a track like this, how strong you need to be in your legs, how strong you need to be in your back and your core to be able to get right through to the finish of a moto like this.
Yeah, it really is a case of getting those legs nice and strong so that your lower back doesn't blow out. A little bit of sideways action there for Kyle Webster.
As we see this man continue to work his way around, matching the lap times of the leader, so just shows how determined he is to continue pushing forwards. 155 lap times compared to the next closest is a 158 of Kirk Gibbs in 3rd.
Well, Danny, do you think he's allowed himself to start to think about the championship yet? We're 4 minutes, 40 seconds plus a lap. Has he started to think about it?
Probably. in a small way, I would say. If he let his mind get too caught up in the moment, then that's when mistakes happen. And he's a rider that's been there before, and he understands that. He needs to stay focused on the job at hand, and that is completing this race. And that is exactly what he is doing right now back there on the 111 machine. As we see Kirk Gibbs on the KTM, a very lonely ride back there in third, but nonetheless, no credit taken away from him. A very solid ride to be there in third place. A great result, and just securing his position there in the overall in this championship as well.
He's done a great job this weekend, really. He's came in, we had a bit of a chat to him during that MX1 package, knowing full well he was in third place in the championship, and he has really sort of stamped that third place this weekend. He's gone out and he is doing a great job here. The final moto of the year, he finds himself in third place and doing a sensational job.
So there is Beaton on screen, and Metcalf has done it. He has made the pass back in front of the Honda rider. So as we said, Metcalf won't give up. I don't think it's anyone can break Metcalf. He will always be there. If he's in with a shot, if there is a chance of doing it, he will be there and he will push it all the way to that checkered flag.
So just over 3 minutes to go, plus a lap here. MX1 Moto 2, thanks to Thor. Not only our final moto of the MX1 class for 2023, our final ever moto here at the Coolum Pines circuit.
As we see Beaton still working his way through. This would be I feel would be the toughest part of the track, trying to get through there. It's so whooped out and rolly. We just look back behind them at the next rider to come through, 162 on the Yamaha blue bike of Zelensky. It's hard to pick up those numbers as they roll through here. What a ride it is for the 162 machine on screen right now. Luke Zelensky looking very good and pushing very strong at the moment. 158 lap times. He is matching the third place rider, and at this pace, 4 seconds faster than Beaton in front of him the last lap around. So with 2 more minutes in this one, there is potential that he could close that gap down. Whether he makes that pass, it's a big ask. 7 seconds, yeah, it's a tall order. However, a fantastic ride nonetheless for him to be up there in 7th place. And in front of Aaron Tanti, Watson with a good result as well. We've seen previous, as there is Tanti on screen now. The CDR Yamaha Monster Energy rider will go out of today. Probably a little disappointed, but realistically, we've seen some great results out of him, and he will start to focus the attention onto Supercross out the back end of this championship.
Yes, Aaron Tanti wanted to be in that championship fight right the way to the final checkered flag, but it wasn't to be. Unfortunately for QMP, for him, but he's still in here fighting as hard as he can all the way to the end of the final moto. At the moment, Kyle Webster continues to lead by 12 seconds over Dean Ferris.
Nearly lap by lap are we seeing that Ferris and Webster are matching their lap times. It's almost like they've got radio signals going to him. He just did a 56, you need to pick it up. Same times every single time around. They can't see each other. 12 seconds gap, they can't see exactly where they are. Although you can look across the track and know if you've dropped back a little bit. We see Tanti trying to close down. That's Zelensky that is there in front of him. He's trying to close that back down and maybe make that pass. But here is the champ here. Lee, what a ride it's been.
It has been such a ride for Dean Ferris this year. Make no mistake, this track is absolutely brutal at the moment.
Into the left hand, 24 seconds on the clock. So these guys have got 2 more laps to go. And I'm sure right now, knowing there's only 2 more laps to go, this will be the opportunity. That's 157. So he's been working on lap times also on the pit board with his mechanic. So that's all they've been focused on, especially when you're in this point. Look at those lap times, make sure that you match them and you know exactly where you've slowed down, picked up time. Keeps the focus on the track and on the race rather than the championship lead.
Our clock has just gone down to 0, Danny, so the next time Kyle Webster makes his way through. He will receive the last lap board. This man has done everything he has needed to do. And what a season it has been for Dean Ferris.
Into the easy lift left-hander. Nailed it this time around for Dean Ferris. And then this long Yamaha Blue Crew right-hander looking to the inside line here. So many different lines through there at the moment, just picking his way through, falling into those whoops. He has backed off on this lap. I think he knows he is set for this position. He is happy to take it from here. He will just ride this one out. It doesn't really look like this guy has slowed down too much, though. Kyle Webster, the 96, continues to push forwards.
Well, he's got a point to prove. He knows how to make his way around this track, that is for sure. Now, Dean Ferris said earlier on in an interview that this quite possibly could be the sweetest of all of those championship victories, Danny.
He's had to really work for it. Privateer effort that he's currently aboard with the support of Brisbane Motorcycles. I'm sure that has been a big factor into why this championship could be one of the sweetest for him, as we see the leader over the tabletop will receive the last lap board. This time around, a welcome sight by every single rider within the next 2 minutes to see that board at this point of the day.
Well, possibly, except for Kyle Webster. I think he'd like to just keep going. He's probably absolutely loving this moment and wants it to just keep going on.
Well, it is match times again, 58, 158 for both leader and Ferris, so I was wrong. Ferris still pushing hard. He hasn't slowed down at all over that last lap, matching the lead rider. And Gibbs still there with a 158 as well, so he hasn't slowed down one single bit.
Well, you have a look at the size of those whoops. Danny Ham tips it into the left hand of this beautiful berm and launches towards these big sand rollers for the last time.
Webster and that Honda gelling so good here today in these very rough conditions. Oh, rider down, just dodging some last-minute grenades being thrown at him, trying to bring him to the ground. I think that was another Yamaha, so that it could have been planned. I mean, it's a Yamaha red bike, you never know. No, we don't think that, of course. Webster just making his way around the track, avoiding all the obstacles that present themselves there in front of him as he closes down this last half a lap.
Not too far away now from the finish line for Kyle Webster on board the Boost Mobile Honda HRC 450 machine. What a ride it has been. He's been flawless this whole weekend. Of course, it was only his teammate, Jed Beaton, who bettered him in qualifying. But out of the 2-point scoring races, he has been in an absolute league of his own, has Kyle Webster. He's going to make his way now towards that last chicane before the checkered flag, and he will finish on a high. Unfortunately for him, there was a couple of mishaps throughout the year that meant not the kind of points that he would have liked. But what a stamp of domination coming through. Checkered flag waving, 2 wins from 2 starts. Kyle Webster, congratulations.
You can just see exactly how happy he is as we look back to Ferris, who now is certainly enjoying that last final part of the lap. Dean Ferris, congratulations, the 2023 MX1 Motocross champion. What a performance, what a fight it has been for him all year long.
Have a look at the emotion from Dean Ferris. He is ecstatic. He can't believe this. I think he has not allowed himself to feel this emotion until he got to the checkered flag. It's all dawned on him right now.
Great scenes there for Ferris to come past. He's always great to talk to, but you never really get to capture that excitement out of him. It certainly is showing right now just how stoked he is with this as we wait for all of these riders to make their way back to the podium. Listen to it, the crowds. Ferris, the championship. What a time, what a day it has been for this rider.
Well, that's just some raw emotion right there. If we get in nice and close, you can see it. Tears of emotion, his wife there. Amazing.
How's the sound of the horns? There's something out there that is on the limiter. Some kind of mechanical version chainsaw something that is really getting into it. It's going to blow up.
It's going to blow up, absolutely. Just taking it all in here as the spectators start to congregate, make their way around the podium. I don't think I have ever seen Ferris quite this ecstatic, quite this emotional. This just means so much to him.
As he said, he thought that it was all over at the end of last year, took the time off, and then brought himself back to the championship. But let's hear it from the man himself. Let's go down to Kate.
Dean Ferris, you are the Thor MX1 Oz Pro MX champion, your 4th. Congratulations, so much emotion. Tell us what's going through your mind right now.
Oh, I don't even know. I just let out when I went across the line. I can't believe it. It's been 5 years since my last championship, and just went through hell and back to get here, and put in so much hard work, even last year and all the other years. And I couldn't step away. I love this sport so much. I'm glad I come back. Huge thanks to Brisbane Motorcycles and Yamaha for getting on board. There's so many personal sponsors that come out of the woodwork to make this happen for me, and it's just massive. I've got my 2 little girls here now that are all grown up, and they're going to remember this, so it's super special.
So amazing. Running your own program, how has the year been? How much hard work has it taken to get to this place?
Yeah, like every other year, just a lot of hard work. I left everything on the table, and it was pretty good. We won a lot of motos, won a few overalls. We had some some mishaps and some DNFs and stuff, but overall it worked out pretty good.
And we'll see you again next year.
Yep, I'm going to go around again. Woo!
Huge round of applause to Dean Ferris. Such a huge crowd here. So fantastic to see the family congratulating Dean Ferris on his championship win, MX1 championship win, his 4th in his career. Moving on to our round winner, Kyle Webster, on the Boost Mobile Honda. Loving the sand out there. Great way to finish this year.
Oh yeah, definitely. It couldn't have gone any better, really. It was my goal to win this weekend and finish the year off strong, and last Coolum ever, so it's a little bit more special, I think.
Yeah, such a great way to finish this year, and we'll see you at Supercross.
Yeah, definitely. Just a big shout out to everybody, the whole team. This year didn't quite go as we wanted it to, but we finished off strong. And big thank you to my mechanic, my partner, and yeah, everyone in my corner.
An unbelievable lead all weekend, pretty perfect. You go celebrate.
Yeah, thank you.
And in P3 for the round and P3 for the championship. Congratulations, Kirk Gibbs, on the KTM. Bit of a result.
Yeah, it's nice to finish up here and obviously 3rd in the championship. It's been a very testing year, and yeah, just got to give a hats off to everyone that stuck behind me and truly believed. And yeah, I'm just truly thankful. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, you go enjoy that P3.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks, boys.
Well, it certainly has been a fantastic season this year of motocross. The MX1 class going down to the very final race. Lee, I cannot wait to see how things unravel for next year as well. There's the confidence that these guys will be taking into the next year, especially Kyle Webster, is going to be something else.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing what Kyle Webster has for us next year. But of course, it's all about Dean Ferris and the way that he handled himself this year. I guess you win your races on your bad events, and he didn't have too many bad ones. He had a lot of good ones, not too many poor ones.
Even the bad ones that he did have, he still managed to collect a lot of valuable points. It was back and forward between Honda and Yamaha all year long, and it really shows the depth of talent that we have here in Australian motocross.
Absolutely, and of course, Kirk Gibbs there with 3rd place in the championship. Sort of flew under the radar a little bit, but an amazing job for him. Great job for Kyle Webster going 1-1 here at Coolum. Loves the sand and showed us how it's done.
It really did. It was a very clinical performance by Webster to show exactly how to ride sand, as the boys all get the champagne and they're about to spray right here and celebrate their positions. What a fantastic day we've had here. What a great day for the final round of Coolum, this fantastic venue that has supported this series for so many years. and being such a fantastic final venue in the championship. Will be sorely missed, but I'm sure we'll see a new venue very soon jumping into this slot to take over such a prestigious event.
Yeah, you would have to think that we're going to come up with an equally good final round. Coolum has just been amazing.
So good to see. The racing across all categories today has been something else. Really shows how fit and talented these riders are, as we see little photo session there for Webb trying to get some very important first place shots. Let's head down to Kate, who is with Jed Beaton.
Just wanted to catch up with Jed Beaton quickly on the Boost Mobile Honda. Tell us how that race went down for you. We saw that tragic moment where the bunting got in the way.
Yeah, I mean, I got off to a good start and thought I could run the pace at the front, and then unfortunately just made a mistake and went off the track, and yeah, got the banners all caught up in my bike, so I have to jump off and get it out the back wheel before I could get going again. But yeah, when the track's rough like that and you just sort of get taken out of your flow straight away, it's hard to get back in it. So no, all in all, it was a pretty good championship. Ended up second, and great day for my teammate. He had a lot of bad luck this year, and to go 1-1, it's good to see. So yeah, all around good vibes, happy for the team, and yeah, without the team we wouldn't be up here. So yeah, also congrats to Dean on the championship. It was close all year, and some pretty cool battles, but yeah, unfortunately he got the best of me, and we'll be back next year to give it another crack.
Fantastic. Those some great words from you there, Jed. Thanks for chatting.
No worries, thank you.
Anytime the championship does go down to the very last round, it is something special, and we've been privileged to see it all this year.
Well, make sure you lock into your calendars round 7 and 8 of the Yamaha Australian Off-Road Championships, presented by MX Store at Kyneton in South Australia's beautiful wine region, which will take place on August the 26th and 27th. And while you're at it, make sure you lock in round 6 of the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championships, presented by Moto2, as it heads next to Phillip Island Grand Prix Circuit in Victoria from October the 27th to the 29th. Well, what an amazing series we have seen for 2023. 8 rounds spread out throughout Australia with so many amazing venues along the way. I cannot wait to see what 2024 will bring. A huge congratulations to all of our championship winners. Thank you so much for joining us throughout the entire Penrite Oils ProMX Championship, brought to you by AMX Superstores. On behalf of Danny Ham, Kate Peck and myself, Lee Hogan, and of course Motorcycling Australia and all of our sponsors, thanks for your company. Goodbye for now.